Content farms are something that are currently plaguing YouTube and the online world. These content farms can range from tame and pretty harmless to the extreme and harmful towards younger people. And the ones that are more harmful to a younger demographic manage to get around YouTube's guidelines by a few technicalities or just making it through the system. In my first video on content farms, I briefly looked at the tamer side of them before looking at the more serious aspects. And by great request, I am now back looking at content farms. Something that I noticed while doing research for my second content farm video is that it seems like YouTube are cracking down on this issue, and a lot of these content creators are moving from YouTube. Two of the biggest content creators that I covered in my previous video, Glitchpill and Corngak, if I'm saying that correctly, have appeared to just disappeared off of YouTube. Now this is incredible news. It appears that they haven't been uploading for some time now, at least a good month, especially Corngak. Now for people that are maybe unfamiliar with this channel had an 18+ Patreon linked on their channel. This was the channel that mainly used the Inside Out franchise to garner a child audience pretty clearly. Whilst they did use the Amazing Digital Circus in YouTube Shorts, their main focus for content for the most part was Inside Out, and then you would go onto their links and there would be an 18+ Patreon with a lot more unsavory content. Even their Twitter had more mature drawings of Skibidi Toilet characters. This was one of my major issues in my last Content Farms video, is the fact that channels like these were allowed to be up where they were promoting more NSFW content whilst uploading content directed towards children.
Today was a really tiring day. No one will ever know how much I've been wanting to come home. After all, living alone is quiet.
Hey, you're finally back.
Now, unlike Glitchpill where they stopped uploading entirely, Corngak has mainly moved over to YouTube Shorts, and every single YouTube short which is clearly directed and aimed at children has a watermark for their Patreon where there is more adult and mature content. So I'm glad the long form has slowed down significantly. The fact that they are using YouTube Shorts which are tailored towards that more child audience and promoting an adult Patreon is disgusting. Another channel that pretty much does the exact same thing as Corngak is Fash. Now Fash, like Corngak, has stopped posting long form content and has gone way more for the short form content, still posting the Inside Out 2 content whilst promoting again an NSFW Patreon. And on this said Patreon it is severe adult content, even including some of the Inside Out 2 characters, and this is being promoted on Inside Out 2 kid friendly content on YouTube Short. There needs to be systems in place to stop something like this happening, and I know it's a lot easier said than done, but this is disgusting, and the fact this is even happening on YouTube in 2024 is astounding. I would argue this problem has gotten worse since my initial content farms video. People have now moved away from the long form content to making kid friendly short form content which promotes an NSFW Patreon. Or some of the IPs that they were using before could have been put into question if it was actually made for kids in the first place. Using things like Inside Out, the motives and intentions are pretty much clear. Another channel that I've come across as of recently is a channel called Toons, which uploads content like this.
What? I love you.
Now, whilst I have blurred that for the most part, just because I genuinely don't think I would get ads on the video if I showed that, just due to how suggestive the content is, you can all gather what was actually going on in that video. The content is very suggestive, yet again, using things that are made for kids. What makes this even worse is in the description of these said videos, they are apparently rated for 13+. It claims more mature themes, and I think what I've just watched and some of the thumbnails on this channel are way more than just a little bit mature. This is something I can't really show on YouTube, especially in a video, and I just don't know how YouTube have allowed it on their platform. But this Toons channel is another channel that has been doing this content for some time, even doing this weird Inside Out genre that a lot of these channels seem to be absolutely obsessed with. But the next channel I want to take a look at is a channel called SVAG Plays. This is a channel that personally I think if you were recommended their YouTube shorts, you wouldn't think anything of it and you would just scroll on thinking their content is just brain rot. It is true that the majority of these are just brain rot. The more you keep scrolling on their YouTube shorts, the more weird and suggestive some of these do actually get. And it actually gets 10 times worse when you actually take a look at their long form content. I'm not going to even begin to show a lot of these thumbnails because they are incredibly weird and suggestive and just not for kids at all. Where the YouTube shorts are definitely tailored towards more of that child audience, These just don't look like that's something that a child should be watching. And just even reading some of these titles shows you that they're not really something that should be on the site. Going back to something I said earlier, a lot of these channels tend to use Inside Out 2 to get people to watch these weird and disgusting videos, and SVAG Cartoons is somebody who does the exact same thing. Not only are the videos gross themselves, but the titles and thumbnails are even worse. I'm no expert, but I definitely think these should have been caught by YouTube through one of their systems. This is something that can actually be taken down off of the platform. Something that I said last video, which I'd like to replay here, which I still think rings pretty true, is this. This gets far, far worse. And I think it should be kept in mind again, if it's not already clear, that this content is directed towards kids, not adults, kids, using things that are meant for kids. I could keep going in this video with example after example after example, but I don't really want to put you guys through that anymore, and I don't want to put myself through it. It's gross and disgusting. I don't understand how these channels are still on YouTube. YouTube pride themselves of getting rid of stuff like this when this is still, and it seems like, a very thriving market. It's not like these channels are getting a couple of thousand views and a few likes. These channels are getting millions upon millions of views, subscribers, and likes. People are being exposed to this content, and it looks like it's mainly children. YouTube needs to crack down on this. This is something that is far, far widespread and needs more recognition. It's an issue that is still growing pretty rapidly. These videos are still getting millions upon millions of views and aren't slowing down anytime soon. There's brand new content creators that are doing this and promoting their NSFW content off of the site of YouTube, and it needs to stop. Whilst lots of people on YouTube and across the internet have issues with things like Skibidi Toilet and other brain rot that is directed towards kids, I personally don't. Whilst it is brain rot and it is bad content, kids can take something from that, and it's enjoyable, and it is kid friendly at the end of the day and appropriate for a younger audience to watch, where the things we have covered in this video are nowhere near being appropriate for a kid. Whilst YouTube Kids is a thing, most kids just use YouTube on their parents' devices. They don't use YouTube Kids, especially to access things like YouTube Shorts, which a lot of these channels are, and then they get sucked into that type of channel and that content, and then get promoted the more NSFW stuff. For me, the personal issue here is especially the Patreons that are being promoted. That is something that YouTube definitely and can crack down on, and I think that needs to happen ASAP. These Patreons are disgusting, especially when they are being promoted on content that is being made for kids and not even just kid content adjacent.
Today was a really tiring day. No one will ever know how much I've been wanting to come home. After all, living alone is quiet.
Hey, you're finally back.
Anxiety, why are you here?
I don't know where fear is, so I came to your room myself.
I will be making a part 3 to this video if the situation around content farms like this get worse, if any bigger content creators like this are flagged up to me, and if people genuinely want me just to cover this more. I do think this is a subject that needs to be covered more, so I would appreciate people sharing this video around, subscribing, and leaving a like, so we can get this video into the algorithm so more people are raised and aware about this situation. But I have been your host Samuel, and you have been watching the Samuel Commentary YouTube channel, and I will catch you all in the next YouTube video.